Who doesn't love Martin Scorsese? He's one of the best, if not the best filmmaker in American history. His movies include such classics as Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino, The Departed, and The Wolf of Wall Street, just to name a few. 5 of his films have been inducted into the National Film Registry as culturally and historically significant. He's won an Academy Award, he's won Emmys, a Grammy, Golden Globes, and BAFTAs. He's also Italian-American like yours truly, so I particularly love him. Now, Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann is a best-selling book from 2017 that details the true story of a series of murders of wealthy Osage people that took place in Osage County, Oklahoma in the early 1920s after big oil deposits were discovered beneath their land. It was considered one of the best books of that year, sold a lot of copies, was very well received. Now, at that same time, Imperative Entertainment paid a whopping $5 million to acquire the rights to the book. And Martin Scorsese, along with Leonardo DiCaprio, were attached to the project. Now, last year, off a recommendation from the wife of one of my best friends, I read this book. It lives up to the hype. It's a fantastic telling of this dark story. So combine this great book along with Scorsese and DiCaprio, one of the best actors working today in my opinion, and I was excited when the first trailer dropped. Truly, we had a can't-miss masterpiece on our hands. But do we? Does the movie Killer of the Flower Moon live up to that massive buildup? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the movie Killer of the Flower Moon. So let's talk a little bit about our plot. So it's 1919, and the greedy and gullible Ernest Burkhart, played by DiCaprio, returns from World War I to live with his brother Byron and Uncle William the King Hale on Hal's large reservation ranch. Hal is played by Robert De Niro. He's a reserve deputy sheriff. He calls himself the king, and he poses as a friendly benefactor to the Osage people. He speaks their language, and he bestows gifts to the people and to the town. But he secretly schemes to murder them and steal their wealth. He suggests to Ernest that he court Molly Kyle, played by Lily Gladstone, an Osage woman whose family owns oil head rights. Now, Ernest, along with Byron, have been committing armed robbery against the Osage people, but he does agree to meet Molly, and he meets her one day as driving a cab, and develops a romance with her, and the two marry. Now, what follows after that is a complex tale of murder and betrayal spanning across several years as Hal launches his plan to acquire the oil head rights from the Osage people by any means necessary. So what do we have here? Is it another Scorsese classic? One that will go down in history as one of his best? Well, let's start with the performances. They are flat out awesome. DiCaprio is wonderful as always. Now, Burkhart's a complex character. He's easily manipulated, but he's also a pretty evil dude. But at the same time, he can be very loving and caring. He clearly loves his wife and his children. DiCaprio plays both sides of him convincingly. Now, De Niro gives a masterful performance as Hal, one of the most cunning, dark, and amoral characters he has ever played. But it's Lily Gladstone who steals the show. She's the emotional heart of the movie. She put her whole soul into this character. Molly's a tragic character. She's caught in the middle of Hal's plot and really is its ultimate victim. But despite all against her, the character, there's just so much depth and so much passion and so much strength. And Gladstone does a wonderful job with it. I wouldn't be surprised if she's nominated for awards. Also, this movie is visually stunning. The cinematography is brilliant. I mean, it's what you would expect with Scorsese, but he really brings out his best here. The whole thing's filmed in Oklahoma, and the landscape is breathtaking. It's so visually pleasing you will definitely be captivated by it. However, all is not so perfect here, I'm sorry to say. First thing, the pacing of this movie. While there are times when the story is so engrossing, you don't notice the time, there are way too many extremely slow parts. And I mean, check your watch slow. Also, it's long. Way too long. This is a 3.5-hour movie. And you just feel it way too often. Now, Scorsese loved this book. And I feel like it was a blessing and a curse because he does capture the novel, but I feel like he couldn't cut anything out. He put like the entire novel into this film. Not saying that's bad, but this really needed some serious editing. As an example, it has the same runtime as Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring, but this book is 100 pages shorter. You could easily lose 45 minutes of this film and not lose anything from this story. So the bottom line, it's strong acting, gorgeous cinematography, great directing, and a powerful story that keeps Killers of the Flower Moon engrossing. But its slower pace and extreme length hold it back from being one of Scorsese's best. It's still a good movie, just not a great one. But let's be honest, in this day and age, I'll take it. It's probably best to watch this at home. I just feel like you'll be more comfortable. So that's it from me this week. Tune in next week for more pontificating from yours truly. So hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with friends and enemies alike. And as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.